All right. Welcome to the Somewhat Creative Show, the podcast where we explore the ideas, tools, and people shaping the creative world. I'm Rocky Tilney, here with my fellow font wrangler and co host, Clark Miller.
Fonts.
And today on the
I
show,
like fonts.
you do like fonts. We're joined by Caroline Lakshmanan, co founder and CEO of Cloud Closet, the social shopping platform that turns your outfit history into a discovery engine. Let's get our superpowers activated and jump in, Clark.
Wait, so now it's like font superpower? Like it was font wranglers. You went from cowboy to like now we're superheroes. We're jumping across genres. This is a very creative show. We're jumping across different kind of avenues of film and superpower. I don't even know what we're doing here. Rocky, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. I might sound a little nasally because I'm getting over a cold, but other than that, I have my green tea right here with honey, so I'm working on it.
Some superpowers, I guess.
Yeah,
did not work for
weak,
you in this
actually.
instance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
pretty weak.
Yeah, that's been going around. You know what else has been going around?
Do tell.
Cracker Barrel.
Oh my God.
I can't get away from it. It was too much.
Too much.
You know, it is interesting though how quickly these things dissipate. Like Cracker Barrel took all the energy away from what was the last redesign thing that
Sydney
had
Sweeney
everybody
and
up
American Eagle.
Sydney Sweeney, yeah. And that was, that replaced Jaguar. We've talked about all these things on the show, and then now I'm like, it's already gone. It's already, nobody cares.
I'm still seeing people on LinkedIn posting their hot take 2 weeks
Cracker
later.
Barrel.
On Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
But
we're late. We're late to the game.
I don't even want to talk about it, to be honest, because so much has changed with it. They obviously did a rebrand, a refresh of their logo, which was basically just a minimalization of what they had, which was a little bit more illustrative. So they just brought back the guy with the barrel. And then they just said, nah, we're going to go back.
Yeah, can I ask you, have you noticed because all I saw was their announcement saying they were going back to that logo. Are they doing away with anything else that they introduced with the branding, with the new brand? Because it was more, whenever you do these brands, it's like more than just the logo. It's like a full corporate.
Well, they were doing their interiors. Yeah, they were doing their interiors of their stores or of their restaurants. I honestly, here's the honest truth. I've never been in a Cracker Barrel before.
I haven't either.
So I don't know.
Californian. We're too
Californian. But from what I've seen online, it was very very Southern looking, very like down home, front porch, a lot of wood grain, a lot of bric-a-brac like on the walls and then on shelves and stuff like that. That was the look, and I think that's what people liked. And their new look for the interiors, I don't know how many they've rolled out to other Cracker Barrels, is very minimalist, clean. So I don't think that was the pushback though. I don't know enough about it, so I'm a little ignorant, but I think the pushback was taking away the guy in the rocking chair and the barrel and just, people don't like change. If they love a brand, they're not happy when it changes or modernizes in any way.
Yeah. People were pushing back because they felt like it was like a woke thing or like a, I don't know. It was an odd pushback to me.
I don't know.
Because I did hear it. I heard an interesting take that a designer was talking about how this is just because all these companies now are real estate companies, that they're in it for the real estate that these franchises are on. And they want to make it as easy as possible to get rid of these buildings once the business closes. Like they want to make it so it's a little bit easier for them. So that's why the rebrand included all this interior design stuff where they're trying to get rid of like their look that's in these stores. It's the same reason like McDonald's no longer has those roofs that, were the classic kind of like pitched roof of McDonald's. It's like, and Pizza Hut and all these companies, they've gone to this minimal
look. The architecture was too branded. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the same with Cracker Barrel with all the wood and everything. It's like they just want to go streamline so that when one of these places isn't doing well, they can just sell it and move on. Yeah. And that's like the real reason that they're doing all this. So that's what I'm interested in is like, are they really getting rid of the rebrand or are they just changing the logo, but keeping the stores all minimalist and doing all that?
I don't know. Yeah. And I think their claim was that they wanted to appeal to a newer, younger audience. with anything else, right? You have your audience or your customers age out eventually. There's an natural attrition with these things, so you have to then recapture the new audience. I mean,
Yep.
every
Yep.
brand does this. Disney has to do it with their reboots of live action that, Little Mermaid, Snow White. They're trying to capture a new audience, right? They're not,
Mhm.
you know, can't rely on the people that watched it in the 1950s anymore.
Yeah, maybe we should start
They're not
calling
around.
these we shouldn't call these rebrands, we should call them reboots. They're just rebooting Cracker Barrel. They should just do like a offshoot of Cracker Barrel that's like Cracker Barrel Fresh, like Amazon Fresh. Something like that.
Maybe.
Just
Maybe.
start a
I don't
new
I don't know.
business.
These things are, apparently a lot more complicated than we realize. And there's
I
just
don't know.
so much
Here's
equity, I guess, in the
here's
brand.
my here's my 2 cents. And all these brands that go back on what they did, just stick with it. I don't know, just like give it a couple months and see if it dies down. Like if it's not, I don't know. Like there are certain ones where it's like Tropicana that we've talked about on the show where they rebrand and they lose money because nobody's buying it
Yeah.
anymore or whatever, and they have to go back. But in this instance, it just seemed like they just bent to the pressure of people commenting online, and it's like, well, if you had waited another week, people would have like moved on to the next rebrand that didn't do
Yeah.
well.
Well, I think
Mhm.
you just touched on something that I think that's very important, and that's the willingness of these companies to, well, the speed, I guess, that this stuff happens in wasn't always the case, right? The amount of pushback that becomes public now is really quick, and fast, and there's a lot of pressure now too with, doing the right thing for the brand, or
Mhm.
listening to, you got the loudest voices, obviously, and you're actually seeing real, monetary loss from these companies. I think Cracker Barrel was like $100 million in valuation that they lost with this. I don't know how they figure that stuff out, but
But did it bounce back after they announced the logo was going back? Probably not.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's a weird thing. We live in a weird time for branding.
Yeah, it's kind of a scary time for branding. You don't
Yeah,
want to do anything wrong. The
it's
the
very true.
the costs of a mistake are now very high.
Yeah.
And one of the things I was thinking too is like, do we even want to rebrand things anymore? Is the risk too high for rebranding?
I
And
don't know. I was looking at, I've been watching Pop Culture Jeopardy. I don't know if you've seen this on Amazon, but
mm,
they even keep the Jeopardy logo. Like there are certain logos that have not changed in 30, 40 years, and they're just
yeah,
going to they're going to ride them into the ground. Like
yeah,
nobody's rebranding the Jeopardy logo. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it needs a rebrand. It's like a very dated kind of 70s style game show
right.
logo. If they, but like it
But
seems
does it
like
need a rebrand though? Does it?
no, because I don't think that's the way you're going to get. It's the same problem with
Yeah,
Jaguar thinking they're going to be able to like get younger customers if they don't, I don't know,
yeah,
have a serifed typeface. Like what do you think young people want from a brand? It's like,
yeah.
people still watch Jeopardy years and years later. They get new audiences to watch it, and it's not because the branding is dated or, they're
I mean,
changing
is it the
things.
branding that becomes dated, or is it the social, cultural things around the brand that make it feel dated? I think that's an interesting topic to
Hmm.
talk about too, because something on its own, yeah, there may be elements or design features of a logo that does date it, 70s, you have like flower power and the natural tones, the
Hmm.
olive greens and the browns and the yellows and stuff like that. That does make it feel like it's part of a different
Dated.
era in many
Yeah.
cases. But I
Hmm.
think the social stuff around a brand also, weighs into that as well.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe rebrands are dead. Maybe we shouldn't be doing them anymore.
I can't imagine companies being excited about doing rebrands,
Not in
especially
this climate.
consumer products. Yeah. Well, you're going to get people commenting on it that shouldn't be commenting on it and that
Yeah.
have a lot of power. So gets everyone, flustered.
I'm trying to think of, and maybe you can help me. I'm trying to think of the last time there was a rebrand that went really well. All the people loved it. It was remarkably. I think that the only one that's coming to my mind is the Poppy Soda rebrand, but that was done before they were really anything.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say they were pretty. Yeah, they were under the radar before the rebrand, I
I
think.
can't think of a big brand. Maybe anytime you rebrand a
Soft
larger
drinks.
brand, soft
Pepsi was
drink
the
or
last one,
oh
but I
yeah.
think they've reverted back too. Since remember they had the sailboat brand
Yeah.
logo that they did.
Yeah, did they? I don't know if they've like fully reverted back.
I think it's
I
just
don't
the
know.
logo now in between the blue and the red. I don't know. So
That might be
soft
the
drinks, I
last one.
know, like you don't mess with Coca-Cola, don't mess with
Oh,
things
you're
like that.
right.
There's no
They
reason
have
to,
gone
right?
they have gone back. Unapologetic logo now, focused on brand's heritage. Yeah, they went back. Hmm. You're right. I didn't even notice. See, this is the thing. If who cared that they went back years that had to have been 2 or 3 years after the rebrand that Pepsi did.
Probably. Yeah.
Anyway, it's just
I
silly.
don't know
What a
how they
silly
calculate
world.
why to rebrand. Yeah, this logo is not speaking to our
But
audience the way
that's what
it
I mean
should.
is like, is there an example of a big company like that, a national, multinational, billion-dollar company that does a rebrand and it works and it's successful and people love it and they make more money because of it? Or is it
There's
an
only one I
incremental thing? I don't know.
there's only one I could think of.
Yeah, give it to me.
Well, there's two actually.
All right. We'll have one.
Starbucks is more of an evolution of their brand. So they've
Fair. Yeah.
simplified their logo, but they've gone,
Yeah.
they've from their really kind of illustrative version
Yeah.
in the beginning to what it is now, more
Cracker Barrel
simplified.
could have taken a note. They could have taken a note from Starbucks.
They kind of did
Starbucks
the
didn't
same thing.
lose that mermaid. They just kept
No.
shrinking her into a smaller and smaller
Well, I
container.
don't think people care what the Starbucks logo looks like. They want their caffeine.
But why do
It's
people care
different.
what the Cracker Barrel logo looks like? They just want some chicken and
I
waffles,
don't
right?
know.
Like
I don't know.
I don't
Is
really.
that what you could get there?
I have
Maybe I
no.
will
I think
go.
I think
That
there's
sounds really
gravy
good
on
right now.
everything, and it's Southern. It's
Yeah.
like a Country Mart sort of thing. You can also shop there. I think there's like because the
Really?
the rebrand also included packaging for all of their
Oh, yeah, I
packaged
think I've
goods
seen
and
some of that.
stuff and all their market.
Right.
So there was a
Right.
lot. There was a lot in that rebrand. That's why I want to go in and see like, okay, what are you actually changing back? Is it just the logo,
Yeah.
or are you
Yeah.
going back to the old packaging? Like,
Right.
are you putting all that shit back up on the walls that you took down? Like, what's going on
I don't
here?
know.
Yeah, I
The
don't
other
know.
thing too, the other one that I mentioned there was two brands I remember. Starbucks was one of them. The
Mhm.
other one, this was a few years back, quite a few years back, was UPS. UPS changed. Remember, had the little package, the strings around the package,
Oh
and
yeah. Oh,
the
that's a
knot.
very famous. Like he did all the. What's that guy's name that did the original UPS? Like a very famous designer. I'm so
Oh,
bad with names.
Saul.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
Saul Bass, right? Saul Bass. Saul Bass.
Yes, yes, yes. I believe that's the one.
Yeah,
Um,
his work
so they did
is
it.
still stands up. They should
Very
go back to that
famous.
logo. See that? No, it doesn't work. They should just go back.
Well, I don't know if they did it because that was very antiquated. You're not tying your packages with twine anymore.
Yeah, I guess it didn't
you
speak
know,
to how people are shipping things now.
but theirs was very expensive. They not only had to change their logo on like things like websites and
It's all the
trucks,
trucks.
but
Yeah,
airplanes, which is not
yeah.
cheap to change your logo on either.
I don't know. I've never done an
Uniforms.
airplane wrap. I don't know how
We could
much
all
that
have
goes
goal.
for.
We all have goals, right?
That'd be a good one. That'd be a fun one to
That
do.
would.
But yeah, man, he had some great. He did the original AT&T. He did, the original Kleenex, Quaker Oats, United
Yeah.
Airlines. Just these really beautiful logos. I mean, kind of the
Tons.
start of the minimalization of logos, I would say, was Saul Bass.
Yeah.
Kind of influenced the modern era of like, I don't know, some people call it the boringification of logos and
Yeah, it's
simplifying
true.
everything.
Well, it's because we on screens and you have,
Hmm.
128 pixels to demonstrate your logo.
There's actually a really interesting example right here of the original Bell systems, like
Mhm.
I think they were a telephone company, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't. I don't
became
think it
Pac
exists
Bell.
anymore. Yeah, it became Pac Bell. They had like a bell that was much more detailed. I'm looking at it. Maybe we can put it up on our feed when we cut
Yeah.
this. But um, it's like the original bell was much more detailed and had like a lot more curvature and stuff, and it said bell systems on the bell itself. And
Mhm.
good old Saul, he came in and stripped it all down to just the basics. Kind of like a
Very,
modern
very
designer does. Anytime you get a rebrand, it's like, let's strip everything detailed away and just get down to the basics.
yeah,
So that's
the
kind of the
essentials
start of it.
only. Right. Right.
It's interesting.
Oh, one topic that's been coming up, and I've been reading a few articles about it,
Mm,
which is interesting, is a few different takes, I guess, on it. There was 3 months ago we were talking about AI like just crushing creative jobs, right?
mhm.
Especially people out of college, designers and creatives out of college. But I've seen a few takes that are interesting, and it's like, and the question is AI creating more opportunities for creatives today?
Mm,
And could this potentially be an inflection point for designers or a turning point where we're going to look back at this and say, oh, this was like a really great time to be a designer because we had AI in our quiver of tools that we could use and deploy and help us
yeah.
to
Yeah.
think and create. One article I read, I believe I shared it with you a couple days
Mhm.
ago too, was a lot of designers talking about how they're getting this AI slop from clients, and the client is frustrated, and they're frustrated they have to pay a designer because they thought they could
Yeah.
do it themselves, or they
Yeah.
thought they could do it in house, but they're frustrated they have to go out and pay a designer now to fix it. And designers are like, sure, we could fix it. It's well, it's going to take us 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever to do, and we'll charge you accordingly for that
Mhm.
work. So they're so the promise of AI is, it's kind of funny. It's like, oh, you could do all this generate image generation, but it's not going to be good enough for production or to go to market with. So you're still going to have
Yeah.
to hire a designer anyway. And the
Especially for
designer could
branding.
have come up with better ideas or different ideas faster than all the time you spent in your generative AI tool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's clearly what's happening right now. My big question is, I still don't know what happens when, in 10 years, when this is like perfected and, it doesn't need a designer to touch it. It like can spit out the vector imagery and,
Yeah.
all the different formats. You can just say, format this for everything I might need. And it just does it all for you. And I don't know. I don't know if it gets to that point sooner rather than later, but it seems like fixing AI is a temporary. Although the other thing I have seen, and this was like a report out of Berkeley or something recently, where
Hmm.
they were saying that, AI doesn't think, like there is no creativity to it.
No.
It is
Yeah.
just pattern seeking. And like when you ask it for a logo, it's just looking at every other logo and combining it into I mean, this, and I've said this before on the show, I still don't know if that's necessarily what we all do, like as humans. Are we just pattern creators and just looking at are we actually thinking? I don't know. Maybe we're not that different than just a pattern seeking
Well,
AI.
you have to compare your workflow before AI to what your workflow is now. So as a creative, when we were charged with the logo project or a brand
Hmm.
project, what was one of the first things we did after we got a creative brief down and we knew we had all the details of the request at that point? We usually would go out online or go into a design book and
Yep.
look for patterns.
Yeah.
Well,
Look for
okay,
inspiration
what
and
are some things, some ideas, some patterns? So you're doing that same thing. It was just slower,
hmm
but it did give you time to think. And now we're compressing all that with AI. Hey, AI, do this work for us. I don't want to go look through magazines and books and websites right now for ideas. You could generate those ideas for me faster. But I do feel like there is a point where you're moving too quickly through a process and you're not going to get all the nuance that you need. I love the going through design books and just thinking and
yeah.
slowing the process down. I think there's a lot of value in that. And I think when we try to speed things up, we lose really, really valuable nuance and insights that we would have
Mm,
gained otherwise.
yeah. Yeah, and you know, I think trends aren't necessarily the worst thing. Like we've gone through now years of, we're talking about like minimalization of logos. Like we've gone through this period where brands are really minimizing everything and making everything really clear. And now it's you're really starting to see a little bit more of a exploration into like kind of going over the top and being more, you know, thin lined and more extravagant with your logos. A lot of fashion brands are kind of leading this way right now, um,
Right.
and I think like do with AI, if we turned to AI to do everything, would that happen? Like, would designers explore? AI is not going to explore new avenues and look back at history and be like, okay, now I'm bored with all this. I want this brand to stand out. I'm going to look back at like 19th century logos or branding or something and like pull inspiration from that. I think there's like the tinned fish brands out there. There's a great area of
Mm.
this. Like if you look at
Oh, yeah.
any new
Yeah.
branding on canned fish, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's like they do
It is.
beautiful
It's all
work, and it's
hand
always
done illustrations.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's always hand drawn illustrations and just like ornate logos and stuff. And they are looking back at this history of this product and kind of taking inspiration from that. I don't know if AI, the more it does something, the more it's just going to keep repeating that pattern. And if you're creating these minimal logos and that's what it's looking at as inspiration, it's just going to keep building. And the internet's just going to get full. Like branding is just going to get full with this. Like graphic design is going to get full with the same stuff over and over. And no one's ever going to, like, AI is not going to go, I'm tired of doing the same thing over and over. I'm going to try something new.
It's not going to know that it's been overused.
Yeah.
It's not going to
Yeah.
have those insights. And maybe later those tools will be available where you can have it think fresh. Think
Maybe,
fresh. I
maybe.
don't know if it's not really thinking. It's just like you said,
But
it's
that's yeah, I
pattern
mean, if it's
recognition.
just
Yeah.
pattern recognition, it's not if it truly is never going to think like us, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could prompt it to say like, "Hey, think outside the box and don't do the same thing that you've always done." But how would it know to not how I don't know. I don't know. It gets into a whole weird level of consciousness and like what is a general AI
Yeah.
and how do you define intelligence and
Well, like if you
uh,
asked an AI if you could come up with an idea that no one's ever thought of before.
but could we do
Um,
that? That's my question. I
well, here's
I
the
don't know.
thing: we can't do it because we don't know if somebody's thought of it before, unless it's been documented and we've exhausted all of our research abilities.
Yeah. Yeah.
So AI has the same amount of information we have available to us. It could just pull it. It has, it can recall it faster than we can.
Mhm.
Um, so, but it can't think beyond the information it has,
Yeah.
right? And we have imagination, so we could think beyond reality. We could,
Yeah,
and that's what makes us unique is the ability
but
to have that.
is imagination the same as hallucination? Because we know AI can hallucinate. So is
Well, when
there a
it,
difference between imagination and hallucination?
I think in its application, yes. So hallucination is saying something's fact when it's not a fact, or coming
Yeah.
up with a set of facts that quote facts, quote unquote
Or putting an
facts.
arm out of coming out of the head of
Yeah,
somebody or yeah.
we could see that and say, oh, that's Salvador Dali's melting clock. That's imagination. He's
Mhm.
applied it in a certain
It's
way
intention,
to be
I think.
provoking and intentional. So I think there is a pretty big difference
Mm.
with that, but it is fascinating. So
Yeah.
one of the other things to think about too is as creatives, is our are we able to expand as humans our creative thinking and creative output with AI as sort of our, you know, extra brain, in other words?
Yeah. I
Or
mean, I've
does it
definitely
sort of
increased my
narrow us
output.
down?
I
Yeah.
definitely have increased my output. I mean, my new process is like especially for illustration and art and I do a lot of editorial art and it has I wouldn't be able to do the rest of my job if I didn't have it because it
Mhm.
used to take me, one piece of editorial art could take me all day and now just searching for like the right stock photography to incorporate into some kind of collage and stuff. Now it's just I just ask AI like I need a today I did a football, but I wanted the laces of a football to be like a stock chart going down.
Right. Right.
And that would have taken me, I could take the texture of a lace and I could go in and, draw the actual line and then incorporate the lace and put pieces in Photoshop like cut out pieces of a football and put it all on there. That would have taken me, I could do it probably in an hour and have it look decent. AI did it for me in 2 minutes. After a
Mm.
few iterations, it didn't take 2 minutes, but you know what I mean.
Right,
Um,
right.
and then I took just that lace and I put it on a real football because I wanted like a scene with like an actual player and stuff. So I took a stock photo of a real football player, took AI art, applied it to the football, like, and so it's just a combination of things. But all of that has, just to say, like the AI portion of that would have taken me a lot longer. And
Yeah.
sometimes I'll just say I need a background. I think there's ways to incorporate it where it's not replacing. It's just replacing parts of my work that I guess I'm replacing my own talents is kind of the sad thing.
Yeah, but it's not replacing your thinking, and I think that's the important thing is you're coming up with the thinking behind it, the ideas behind it, and that's the important part. That's the humanity part that we can't rely on
That
AI to
is,
do.
and this comes back to the thing I always get stuck on, which is how is anyone in the future coming up to like past us? Because we've gotten there. I've done enough Photoshop work where I know what I'm trying to do. I can tell
Mhm.
AI like this is the part I need, and it can simplify the process. If I didn't have 20, at this point, geez, 25 years of Photoshop in my past, like, and
Yeah.
making art and stuff, like, would I know even what to ask for? Would I know what I'm trying to do in order to ask it for the right thing? Like, how is somebody coming up now that doesn't have that background going to be creative enough to apply it correctly? That's my concern.
Well, our guest today actually is incorporating AI in a really unique way. So let's
Oh,
move
good.
into that.
Let's do it.
All right. Joining us today is someone who's rethinking how we shop and how we share and what we wear.
She's the co-founder and CEO of Cloud Closet, a social shopping platform that turns your outfit history into a discovery engine where friends and AI help you decide what to wear next.
It's group chat meets personal stylist, and it's striving to change the way fashion and tech come together.
Please welcome Caroline Lakshmanan to the Somewhat Creative Show.
Hey guys,
Yay.
Hi, Caroline.
thanks for having me.
Thanks for
Thanks for
joining
being
us
here.
today.
Yeah, this
You
will
know
be
what's
fun.
funny though, Caroline, about the whole just like what to wear thing? Our last episode, Clark was wearing a shirt that was very similar to a shirt I was going to wear on the show, and I decided against it. And I had to ask him like, "Hey, is that a J. Crew shirt?" Because I was gonna wear
Yeah.
that shirt today. It was really funny because we almost blew the show. I would have had to pause and go change, and it would have been kind of a nightmare. So guys don't really have this problem apparently with like wearing the same thing, but maybe we do. I didn't think we did.
I just this weekend just showed up to an event. It was a birthday party for a friend of mine, and one of the other husbands was wearing pretty much the exact same outfit I was. So we
Man,
decided
you
we
gotta
were
get
just
on Cloud
twinning.
Closet.
Okay, is it
Yeah,
worse for
we need
guys or
it.
girls?
It works for everybody. Look, fashion is cultural, right? Like it's a
Mm,
cultural representation. So if you think about Cloud Closet, it's really just a deeper depiction of what people are already doing. Yes, mostly women are exchanging ideas and soliciting advice in group
Mm-hmm.
chats. That's
hmm
hands down. But, over the years, you guys have seen this evolution of the outfit selfie, the outfit of the day, fit checks. Um, People want feedback, and so you guys do too. And therefore, you can, use Cloud Closet happily. Why not? Even with just your closest friends or just your wife, so you're not just sending her a text message. She could, like, solicit advice there, and then AI can chime in too with some products.
I usually get the feedback on what I'm wearing as I walk down the stairs. And she's like,
Unsolicited
"Turn that
feedback. Yeah,
around, buddy. Try again."
Back up.
that's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Do you guys ever though, like, see what one of your buddies is wearing and ask where they got that and then maybe go buy it or try to buy something
Ooh,
similar?
it's a good
Yeah, I've
question.
done that. I've done that.
Yeah.
I've seen some guys just like out that I didn't know, and I was just like, "That is a really good looking outfit. Like, where did you get that?"
Yeah.
And then they'll say it, and I'm like, "It's not Target, so I can't do it because that's the only place I go anymore."
That's outside my budget.
It's funny. I notice a lot when I ask. I'll ask women. Well, women are more like they love kind of like bragging about it. Like you're like, "Oh, I like your
Mm,
shirt." and they're like, "Oh, TJ Maxx," right?
Yeah.
And often I'll ask them and they'll be like, Zara or Target, and I'm like, "What? How are you finding that stuff there?" Like, I would
Yeah.
like to find stuff there so I could save money, but instead I'm spending, out of my
Yeah.
budget on stuff I like. But it's a discovery method ultimately.
That is interesting too, because I think you tend to think, or you maybe block out certain retailers for clothing because you have this idea about it. Like, oh, that's not, why would I, shop there when
Hmm.
I would shop here? So maybe it is more of a bias to certain retailers that we have. So we don't really even open our eyes up to that as being a possibility.
Hmm.
Scent. And I think today too, Rocky, you and I had kind of talked about this before, of like with your daughter, just like the thrifting movement in
Hmm.
general and vintage. Like I
Yeah.
was just out at a patio in Austin and a girl went up to another girl and was like, "Hey, did you are you a thrifter? Like I host an event
Mm,
on every Sunday. Like come there." It's like forming a relationship just based off of these like vintage
right.
clothing pieces.
Right.
Yeah. It's whole community.
Oh,
So
community.
tell us, Carolyn, how did you come up with this idea? Your background is more in like financial services and payment
Yeah.
processing, from what I
I
could
want to,
tell, right?
I want to hear the whole like
How did,
manifesting of this and everything. Cause I think you're our
yeah, and then,
first CEO we've had on the show.
Okay, I'll take it.
This is big.
Um, no, I mean, I spent 10 years in fashion and merchandising and buying roles for, every type of
mm,
brand you can imagine. I started at TJX in the executive training program. I went to liberal arts college. I needed to understand how you plan for retail, like what goes into pricing, what goes into sourcing, negotiation, etc. So at least like 14, 15 years ago, you would join a retailer's program. So like Saks
Mm.
had one, Nordstrom
mm,
had one, and I just happened to get into TJX's when I was in college. Um, I mean, it was like a $49 billion business then, I believe. So imagine what it is now. I learned everything there. Then moved out to San Francisco, worked for oldnavy.com. Then went on to Sears, RIP.
Oh,
Fashion office
oh,
is based in SF.
sad.
It was sad, but it was so good for me. Like in my mid 20s, I was buying junior women's product for
Yeah.
like
mm,
over 2,000 stores. Like
Wow.
I worked with in-house designers and external, so I really learned how to build that type of business.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to be in like quality. I want like, yes, luxury, but like the craftsmanship associated with it. I was doing like thousands of t-shirts, 20,000 t-shirts in China, built made in
Yeah.
China and selling in Sears. So I went total polar opposite. I moved to Paris. I got my master's in international retail management, Institut Français de la Mode. It's the
ooh,
premier fashion school in
very
Paris.
fancy.
Um, and I got a job at a luxury fashion house called Celine that's
Hmm.
owned by LVMH. Um, it was
As
one
they
of
all are.
the,
Sure.
as they all are, exactly. It was Kering or LVMH were like your two
Yeah.
options. And then I went on to Christian Louboutin really quick, which was a nightmare, of just,
Oh, tell
culturally.
us more. Sure.
But oof, Devil Wears Prada ring a bell. It was
Okay.
just oof, rough. But hey, it just makes you
It's a
stronger. Like
documentary.
if I
It's a documentary.
could get through
I've met those
that, I
people.
can get through anything. You guys know how it goes. But like in a different language, I couldn't really
Mm,
defend myself, if you will.
Mm,
No, but I did Southern Europe men's division there. It was
mm,
like a huge job. And I wasn't even really ready for the job. It was a compilation of a couple
yeah.
things. But came back to the US due to family reasons. And it was like the DTC boom, direct to consumer boom of 2018. And
yeah.
so a lot of these brands needed like fractional merchandising help. So I worked in a consultancy for just over a year and then COVID hit. And
Mm,
that's where my fintech journey began. Luckily, blessing, because I was like, what am I going to do? I've spent like 10 years in this industry that's like
Yeah.
everything's closed and everyone's getting fired and laid off. But fintech, buy now, pay later was burgeoning in the US. So there were all of these knockoff kind of Afterpay, Affirm, Klarnas,
Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
who needed retailers and brands to sign on with them. So it's kind of like the perfect segue of like, product marketing and negotiation, relationship management that is baked into buying and merchandising. And that was my startup school. I spent 5 years at three different startups. I just kept getting recruited. One was pre acquisition, one post acquisition, one Series A raised tens of millions without any product market fit and no revenue. So I just kept like, fashion just kept kind of coming back to me and like haunting me, if you will,
Yeah.
um, of people, and people just kept saying like, you need to go back into fashion. I was like, I know, and I need to hit this fashion tech thing. And knowing with LVMH working there, I did like an entrepreneurship program while I was there. I saw the ideas getting pitched and I was like, oh man, like no one, it's anybody's game. Like LVMH doesn't really care. They just care about their own brands, and
Yeah.
Gap, same thing. And like then the tech giants that are Google, that are Meta, Pinterest, even, they're massive ships.
Mhm.
And they're kind of like the leaders of these companies don't feel the pain point of like, yeah, how can I better talk to my friends about clothes? Like, and
Yeah.
that's not
Right.
even what this is, but it's like, okay, in 2011, when I started my career, e-commerce was like less than 20% of a brand's business. So I kind of saw the evolution, and like the experience just continued to become more and more like scattered of shopping online, because it's built by people who don't shop in the way that most women do. I dare I say it really wasn't built by women mostly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's just facts of like, women receive less than 2% of venture dollars, and we're, such a small percentage of engineers even building these products. So I just had a eureka moment of like, I'm the perfect marriage between like my fashion consumer obsession
Yeah.
Mhm.
and this like learning how to build UI UX that's delightful surprises and delights. Um, and is builds discovery, initiates discovery, and has people coming back for more. So I knew I needed to build something in that realm.
So you went through a phase where during COVID where people weren't even really buying clothes anymore. For the
Yeah.
most
Well,
part, they weren't going
they weren't
out.
buying like work clothes. They weren't buying
Athleisure,
going out
maybe.
clothes. The athleisure
Yeah.
brands, man,
Yeah.
they sprouted up
Well,
like
like they did well.
wildfire.
Lululemon. There were new
Mhm.
brands that sort of spawned from that period as well that are very popular now.
Yeah. I think you'd be surprised actually, because I was so attached to consumers with buy now pay later, because
Hmm.
it's a really specific type of
Yeah.
consumer. So say what you will about like those folks digging deeper into debt because it's like the payment in four. But I also saw people like who were using it to pay their bills.
Mm.
Are like in the stimulus checks, like we'd see the major spikes when stimulus checks went through,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
that's right.
signing on different types of retailers. Because I didn't just focus on fashion when I was in buy now pay later. It was mattresses and furniture and
Right.
everything
Right.
really.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think buying was actually off the charts during COVID in the US. Just
Right.
not
Yeah.
fashion.
Yeah.
Just not
No,
fashion.
that's
Not
true. I
high-end
remember
fashion.
I
Yeah.
bought a few things on Amazon I probably didn't need back in those days.
Before we get to more questions, I do want to self fact check myself when I said that you are our first CEO. We've had it. I apologize to our other CEO guests. There have been a couple. I think I meant more like consumer facing. I think you're the first person that we've talked to that has really is building this kind of consumer facing brand,
Mm.
and that's I'm very interested in like what is the how do you pitch this? How do you go to venture capitalists with? I mean, I don't know if you've gone to a lot of venture capital for the money to raise for this, but it's like, what's the elevator pitch for Cloud Closet? I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it's like I could kind of do with my eyes closed.
I bet.
We built an MVP of the product in April, and in that time, so I wanted to use that to raise and build the wait list. I've seen people get a lot of money with a lot less, if
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
will. But you would be surprised, like, investors hear fashion and it's just like, "Get away." You know,
Yeah.
like, they're like,
Yeah.
"We don't want" and
Yeah.
consumer, B2C, and I get it. Um, so one thing I didn't mention kind of in the story too is, like, there are, like, loads of apps around wardrobe and digital wardrobe, and many of which that have raised at least $1,000,000, and they don't
Yeah.
go anywhere.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
then with, like, the resurgence of AI, investors got attracted again, and they invested $1,000,000,000 last year into fashion tech.
Uh,
So, there was an element where I was like, "Oh, damn it, did I miss it?" Because we were building, because 'cause I've been building
yeah.
this since 2023, we just have been, like, pivoting, and
Yeah.
but it's great because now I'm seeing where all the money's been pumped, and I see that it still won't work, because go to market is
Mhm.
everything. Like,
Mhm.
our product, yes, there's a technical component. We're a technical platform, sure, but it's all about the, format of the
Mhm.
experience, the UX, the UI, and our branding, which you guys know so well of, like, our website, our social voice,
Yeah.
and I'm still trying to get our footing on that,
Yeah.
because money is helpful, right, to make that happen, so it's not
Sure.
just me
Yeah.
doing everything. So so raising has been challenging. We've bootstrapped and we've raised, I'd say around 70K from some angels over the
Mhm.
past 2 years that, like, helped us keep moving
Mhm.
along. Um, but the feedback we get will be like, "Too early, too early." And it's funny because I see my competitors who had
Yeah.
nothing and raised 50,000,000,
Yeah.
and maybe they had a track record of some sort, but, like, another one, 14,000,000, an engineer, she raised that, and I think it's all for a reason, and I think
Mhm.
I own more of my company, I have less people breathing down my neck, which
Yeah.
is awesome,
Yeah.
and everybody loves an underdog.
Yeah. And
Totally.
it's the classic, you're either too early or you're too late too, and
Mhm.
so it's like you have to look for that sweet spot of when to actually raise money
Yeah.
to kick
Okay,
to
so
kick
tell
it
tell us
off the
about Cloud
ground.
Closet then. What is the app? What does it do for you? How is AI integrated into it? Give us the whole backstory of it.
Yeah. So, when I was studying this industry so closely and being like, "Why don't these apps, like, go anywhere? Why do I download them and just never go back to it?"
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always gauge my friends, like, in New Hampshire or Maine or Iowa, like, ask, like, "What do you know about these things?" And they never know of any of these
No.
raises. And I realized, like, these products are asking the consumers to do too much, which is taking individual pictures of their items, this, like, clueless closet idea,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And from everything I've learned in working with consumers in the past 15 years, like, you have to lead them. They can tell you everything you want, but you have to be the one to come up with,
Yeah.
the
And don't
path
give us
forward.
homework. Don't give us
Exactly.
a ton of stuff I gotta do to use this thing.
And then, like, technologically with AI, like, it's emotional fashion, right? So am I really gonna ask, like, do I really value AI's opinion when I say, like, how
Mm.
do those Miu Miu shoes fit? On average, the Miu Miu shoes fit like this. No, I wanna hear from, like, Carol in California. Like, these are all the things that were in my
Yeah.
mind.
Right.
And then it was like, okay, what's a behavior people are already doing? And I just had a eureka. There was a viral TikTok trend where 165 million comments, views, over 200,000 videos of people taking their outfit selfies and sticking, like, pressing them down, making them stickers, and then putting them in their notes app and organizing them, like
Hmm.
Tulum looks,
Mm.
jeans looks, white jeans looks. And I was like, this is brilliant. I started doing it, but it was still cumbersome. I had to make the sticker, I had to move it over, and then I was like, "I can't share this either." I'm taking screenshots and sending to my friends.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Let's lead with this. We know 165 million people care about this and are, like,
Yeah.
loving this." It was Vogue Business's most read story of 2023.
Wow.
And Vogue Business wrote about it like, "How can brands get involved?" And I was like, "How can fashion tech lead with this?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's been like like, the sticker itself is really cute and it's chic and it's, easier to share with
Yeah.
folks. So the premise is, like, how do we make those stickers how do I make my outfit selfie shoppable? And that leads into the questions of like, you're about to leave the house and you're like, which shoe is better, the right or the left? Do I need a belt? Should I tuck my shirt in? And you're frantically texting in the group chat.
Uh-huh.
And I would be like crickets, like I'm about to leave in 10 minutes. And then like I leave and they like tell me I should have wore the shoe that I like didn't wear,
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course.
And I was like, how can I not have to text 3 different groups? Or like, what about some women who I want their opinion, but I like wouldn't text them?
Mhm.
Like that's so
Yeah.
not
Mhm.
comfortable.
Yeah.
And I was like, why don't we have a location where we can just upload our outfit selfies that isn't Instagram? That's like my grandma's on there, my brother, TikTok, I don't personally engage with very much.
Yeah.
And Pinterest, who posts on there that's not like a
Yeah.
designer?
Well,
And
posting
it
has
kind
gone way
of,
down too. Like nobody's posting anything anymore. You're just
Yeah.
watching
They're
for entertainment value
much
on a
more
lot of these
selective
platforms.
about what you
So I
post,
do
right?
think like
yeah,
there's an opportunity within certain niches to develop more of these apps like you're doing, which is like very concentrated, very like specific to a certain type of engagement.
totally. Like our power users have thousands of outfit selfies in their photo album already. So
Wow.
what we need to get up and running is like scraping your photo album. Because right now we just lead with you can take a picture immediately, or just go into your photo album individually, one by
Mhm.
one. But I'll preface by saying, like, despite being in fashion myself, I never really took outfit selfies. And then I started, and then it became a habit that was really fun and like
Yeah.
helpful. Cause I go back in my cloud closet and I'm like, where'd that belt go? Or like, and I look and I evolve and I'm like, okay, you're not as bad as you thought. Your style's actually pretty good. It's
Yeah.
okay. You do wear the same 3 things all the time. Um, and then like the last thing I'll say on that front is like the chat GPTs and Googles of the world that are trying to touch into this space too, which, they are leading with like purchase history and search history. And like, that's actually not enough. My
Yeah.
closet collects dust half the time in there. So
Yeah.
with our MVP, we collected 5,000 outfit selfies within 90 days. We had power users close to 100 just every single day posting. And like, that's all without notifications. Like our app doesn't even have notifications up and running. And people just every day as like I just want to put this somewhere and I do want people to see and I want to see other people's.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
One of the angles we like to take on everything is we believe that any type of career or profession that you're in, there's always a creative component involved. And you're running this startup and you're trying to go to market and get it off the ground. What are some of the biggest creative challenges you've had
Mm.
in this journey so far?
Yeah, this is a
And was it
really
the
good
branding?
question. So, branding, I got really lucky in that our design team is based in Paris. They're called Office Bronner. They're this like gem, and they built Bottega Veneta's app, which is a major social luxury
Mhm.
brand. They
Mhm.
did work with Goat and Essence. They get that type of consumer we were trying to hit. So they helped us with like the basic branding, get that good foundation. But it was more the voice on social that was
Mm.
really,
Mm.
really, really hard because I actually have loads of people who reach out to me every day, like wanting to join us and help,
Yeah.
whether that's interns or young people. And obviously, we're low budget, but I've been able to have people help. And so I had an intern or folks try to help with social, and I couldn't like lead her. So it
Yeah.
was like a disaster. It was everything wasn't correlating because I instructed her like do anything, test.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'd see everything and be like, ah, this isn't
Ugh.
gonna. And I had the epiphany of like, oh my gosh, like this is just as important as our product. We're building a social shopping platform, A, and then it's pariahs in this industry in this space. Right? I have like 5 key competitors who all have like 10x the amount of money that I have.
Yeah. Right.
And I was like, all right, what can you like not take away from me? Right? You might have the
Mhm.
money, but you can't take my taste.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, so how do I, and that took soul searching. It took brainstorming with a brand strategist. Um, and we just got like, how do we create templates across platforms, across LinkedIn, across Substack? I have like a
Mhm.
decent Substack following. And I think we're there. but I need
Mhm.
to, like, continue with that, and it's been, like, kind of this challenge I didn't expect because I thought, like, "Oh, it's social, it's Instagram, it's TikTok, whatever, we can do it," but it's like, "No, no, no," like, how do you stand out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
fascinating.
And how do you not get mired down in this, like, endless testing loop where you're trying to iterate on things and then, like, it stops working, then you go back to things and, like, yeah, I think it there is a sense that, like, over testing and over trying to play into something is sometimes I feel like it's a detriment to just having a point of view and just to go for one specific and just reiterate on that rather than trying to overly, you know, test your audience and find an audience. It's like kind of it makes sense that you would want to just kind of start with your perspective and your taste and let that develop rather than trying to play into a million different aspects of the community that's out there.
Totally, and everybody has an opinion. You know, everybody
This
I
is
talk to is
true.
like, You need to do the founders thing." You know, and I was like, "Why are we just following trends? Like, how do we set them?"
Yeah.
You know, and, like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't have ex do I have experience with social media? Like, as a user, in my career work, I haven't
yeah.
been a
Mhm.
social community manager, so how do I do that? Or how do I find the right person to do that has been just
Mhm.
a challenge.
Can you
So
talk a
when you
little
say
bit? Oh,
go ahead,
sorry.
Rocky. No, 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 go
Oh,
ahead.
just related to this topic,
No, no, no,
about
I'm gonna
finding your
talk.
voice. We're really good about that. About finding your voice, you mentioned that, you thought you were gonna approach social just testing and trying different things. And traditionally, with branding and messaging, there's a component of that work where you go through a trial where you're trying to develop brand voice, brand tone, brand vision, all of those things. Did you go through like a formal branding process with your team to do this, or was it trial and error? And do you feel like you're at a good spot now with what that voice is, or is it something that's going to be constantly
Mm,
evolving?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, one thing too to think about with that is, like, we're an app, right? I hate to say app,
Hmm.
like, I like platform, but, like, how many apps does one follow? You know?
Right.
So it's like
Right.
and I guess I didn't think of that. So it was like, "All right, what's our goal with this?" So we did follow a more formalized process, I'd say, with the branding, but it was as it pertains to building the product,
Mm,
and it wasn't so much in the social realm.
yeah.
And then, I mean, I'm just kind of a minimalist as a person, and I'm attracted to that type of content. And it
right.
was just like, okay, what will make what's the goal? I guess it's followers, I guess it's users, but it's credibility that we are a
Hmm.
place where you're gonna find and discover fun things, and it's
Mhm.
worth taking the 5 minutes to download this app. Um, and I think I got there. I think we got there. And that, okay, we just want something that's you're gonna send to another person. I just want
Mhm.
almost every single thing that we post to
Hmm.
resonate with someone in some capacity. Yeah, surrounding the subject of fashion, um, that's a little funny. There's, like, a little, like, tongue in cheek,
Yeah.
um, chuckle, like, "Ah, it's so true." Like, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Like, even
Mhm.
when I do my pitch to you guys, like, I want you to feel like, "Oh, yeah, I did have a moment where I do have those uncertain moments."
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, it's storytelling, right?
This is very true. So where are you at now in this journey? Because is it hasn't officially, like, launched yet, right? You have users that are using it and power users. How do you decide when to kinda go large with it and to stop kind of, testing within a certain group? Or, I mean, like, where is that point for you?
Yeah. We So basically, wanted to raise the big money to build out the full-fledged vision, and as soon as July 1st hit and that wasn't the case, I was like, "All right, well, 3 months have passed, we just have to move forward." Every day needs to be moved forward in some way.
Mhm.
So we scraped up some money and we're like, "Let's get it into the App Store. Let's get it off of a web app," because that was part of the problem of, like,
Hmm.
it was this, "Here's the passcode," and it's like, "Let's just
Yeah.
open up the floodgates." So we were able to do that for little money, but then, we got into the App Store last Friday, which is amazing, but
Congratulations, yeah.
thank you so much, but I haven't done the full launch because, like, there's bugs. right? Like
Mm.
notifications aren't working, the tagging
Yeah.
Yeah.
stopped working for some reason. So the goal is like next week, I'll do, all the things. In early October, we have like huge things slotted
Yeah.
Mhm.
around like major people promoting. Um, Myself, I have a huge opportunity coming up where I'll be like able to be visible kind of like nationally, maybe globally. Um, yeah, I'll have like more of a stage, if you will, and
Right.
like just events. I did a kickoff in Austin. We're at LA Tech Week. We'll be doing a panel in New York. Like, I just think all of those things planned and we just keep tracking.
That's great.
Mhm.
We in the App Store right now are live and we can earn money. We offer product recommendations now, which we didn't have in the MVP. They were
Mm.
just like manual me adding them, but now it's
Yeah.
like API, AI tied in, attached to visual identification. I have a team. I have 10,000 brands, um, affiliate partnerships with 10,000 brands.
Amazing.
So
Mhm.
like it's little wins. Um, we were approached by Microsoft Shopping about integrating into their Copilot. We're working
Mm.
on that.
Very cool.
Um,
It's amazing.
so I think we can go 0 to 100 real quick,
Yeah.
honestly. I just need our tech to be stronger, our tech team, and I'm
Yeah.
working on it. And I think I
Yeah.
have some prospects.
So in terms of the journey, then it's really about making sure like everything, all the aspects are in place, and you feel like your product is strong enough to kind of go to market. I think that's the thing that kind of
Yeah.
interests me is like you have an idea, you have something built. At what point is it like, okay, it's time to go with this, or is it time to kind of still kind of soft launch and baby step? And at what point is that decision made? At what point do you feel like you have the right product? And
Mhm.
and it
Yeah.
sounds like you're pretty much there. So that's amazing. But I think that journey is like it's very hard to know. I think for a lot of people, at what point is your idea and your product strong
Mm.
enough to really bring to the masses? I guess.
1,000%. Because even like the whole 3 months that we were a web app MVP, it was this
Hmm.
feeling of like, "Ah, I just wish we were in the app store because people would ask me and I would just be like, we're getting there, we're getting there. And then as soon as we got into the app store, I felt so like vulnerable and was like, oh, like this is the real thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then like,
One
did this
chance to make a
baby
first
steps.
impression.
Mhm.
Exactly. Download,
Hmm.
delete, repeat. That's how these apps go. You're a
Yeah.
dime a dozen as an app.
Yeah.
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 So it's like, how do we meet people outside of the app store? As a product and as like in our go to marketing strategy.
Mhm.
So that's why this Microsoft thing would be a great opportunity. We're working with Dress for Success, hopefully.
Hmm.
Plans to like build a section of Cloud Closet that's catering those customers
Hmm.
who really need it the most. They get like outfit appointments for 1 hour and they get two outfits. And how, like, let's use Cloud Closet to turn those two outfits into four. And get them access to more clothing more quickly. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of ways this can go. I
Yeah.
think I just need the baby steps at this
Yeah.
time.
Oh, it's fascinating. I'm like, wait, could you integrate this into other platforms? And like, could there be a cloud closet section of like the Microsoft Copilot sales site or something? And I don't know. There's a lot of places you can
Yeah,
go. I'm loving it.
the outfit selfie. I'm telling you, there's something to because that was what like got
Yeah.
us attention of people being
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, you're right. There is nowhere I can post my outfit selfie, and I want to. Like, I just got a stylist, or I just lost a ton
Yeah.
of weight. I've heard from
Hmm.
people, or I just want to like connect with my friends that in a way that isn't just like their stories on Instagram.
Hmm.
Right. So we talked about a lot of the steps you've taken so far, and one of the things I've always believed in is that you don't learn a whole lot from your victories, but you learn a ton from your defeats. So we always like to talk about like mistakes. Are there any mistakes
Mm.
along this journey so far that you've really been helpful in helping kind of propel you forward to the next step?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the rock bottoms are where we like learn the most in
Hmm.
life. I mean, we started with a prototype in 2023
Hmm.
and we did not know what the hell we were doing. And I was like working full time at a stressful startup and we
Yeah.
spent a lot of money on it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's hard because it's like no regrets. right? It like
Sure.
got us to this place.
Yeah.
But like at that point, I didn't even know that like a prototype wouldn't be enough. And it got
Yeah.
us to MVP. But like then I wonder, okay, did we make a mistake by not starting in the App Store? I got that asked that all the time, like, "Why'd you do a web app?" Because it's basically was like a really expensive, pretty testing tool that
Right.
we built
Right.
Mhm.
with the web app. But I think we're gonna be able to repurpose it, like, maybe for the Dress for Success folks. If we turn our web link into something that just lives for Dress for Success, so, like, those folks don't need to download an app, you know? So I don't wanna say that was a mistake, but, like, a lot of money was spent on these they're expensive mistakes,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then last thing I'd say is I wonder if, like, should I have not spent so much time fundraising
Mm.
in, April, May, and June? Because like, I'm sure you guys know it's a full-time job,
Yeah.
like, getting the
Yeah.
meetings, preparing for the meetings, and doing all the follow-ups from the meetings,
Mhm.
and I got my ass kicked, as you
Yeah.
could right? Like,
Yeah.
my hair blown back, you know? But so maybe that was good because it just, like, prepares me as a person for
Resilience. Right.
resilience and
And that's what
defeat.
yeah, and that's what you hear a lot of people that are startup founders, that's one of the qualities you need to have is that resilience
Mhm.
to keep moving forward.
Determination,
Um,
Yeah.
grit.
but yeah, it is interesting. It's interesting to hear about your kind of the thinking from the product side. Like start with a web app because it's less friction to develop that and test it and have a proof of concept. And then once you get into the app stores and all the testing and the test flight and all that stuff, that's like a whole nother layer of development hassle you have to go through. So I could understand. I think a lot of people that start, web-based companies or tech companies could appreciate that question of how small do we start versus do we go big in the beginning? Because it's about risk and how much risk you're willing to take on at that point. And I think something that a lot of people struggle with is trying to determine what level of risk they're willing to take in the beginning.
Totally. And there's no right answer.
No.
Like,
Mhm.
I open LinkedIn and I'm always like, if I have to read one more hot take from someone
We talked about
saying,
this before on the
Yeah.
show.
God.
Hot takes, come
Everybody's got
on,
an
man.
opinion. Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
think
want to
I
like
think
riff on that.
I'll tell you the piece of advice I think I'm going to take away from our conversation is like to trust your instinct and to trust your own judgment and to trust your personal, style and fashion sense and all of that, because I think that sounds like what you sort of learned too is like really there's so many opinions and so many people that are going to tell you what to do, and at the end of the day it's like you're the only person you can rely on to make the calls and to find your path forward. So I think that's really interesting to you know think more about our own pathways and not listening to others, and just to keep going. Determination. It's really interesting.
That's it. And just like a belief that, okay, these 100 investors said no to me. Like, I have
Mm,
to believe in my heart that, like, it's just because the right one is going to be way better. And,
yeah, yeah.
life's
Reminds me
like
of
that.
a reminds me of the old J.K. Rowling story of getting turned down by what I think it was like 27 publishers that turned down Harry Potter, and then eventually she finds the
Yeah.
one. And then now I've read it with my son, and it's not I would have turned it down. I don't like them. They're not well written. I just got to tell you. That's my hot take. I'm
she,
sorry,
she
Harry
wasn't
Potter
a
fans.
writer.
It was not. It was it's not good
But
writing.
it's a
Anyways,
great lesson though, right? It's a
it was
great
great. It's a great
lesson.
lesson. She was determined. It doesn't matter
She
if
was
you just
determined to see
keep
it through and
going.
she
Keep going.
did.
Somebody will say
But I
yes
think you have to
eventually.
Yeah.
be I honestly believe that you have to be naive a little bit
Mm,
Mhm.
to start something
Yes.
because, I was super naive when I started my design firm, over 20 years ago,
yeah. Yeah.
you know, maybe
Okay.
25.
uh,
I'm afraid
Do
to
you
say.
yeah, is the naivete, maybe you do need a little bit of that, because I don't,
I feel like you do.
there are
Delusion.
stories.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love it.
I mean,
I like
there
being
are
naive
stories of
about things.
people in their 60s starting a new company or something and like going for it or whatever, leaving their corporate job. But
Hmm.
it does seem like there it is a lot of younger people that you need that youthful naivete, I guess,
Yeah.
to not know what you don't know. Like it now to me at I'm turning 40 in a month. I'm like I don't think there's any I would overthink launching something like this, like your product. If I was thinking now about doing it, I would just think of all the limitations, all the
All the
roadblocks, all
problems.
the
Yeah.
Yeah.
problems that I'm going to face, all the
Yeah.
challenges, all the competition, all the people that aren't
Yeah.
competition. And then as soon as I start this idea and it gains a little traction, they're just going to jump on it and like have more money than me. And like you're talking about with the marketplace now, it's like, it would be hard. And I commend you for like keeping with this and because like we're saying, there is a pathway forward. There is a sense that and I don't know if it's naivete. I'm going to say it's that determination that to know that like it doesn't matter if you keep getting kicked down or you run into roadblocks. There's going to be ways around it. Um, Knowing that there's ways forward is not naive. I think it's like a realization that you know other people have done this. I can do it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. Like if they
Mm-hmm.
can do this, or like,
Why not?
okay,
Yeah.
if the leader of social commerce is like Zuckerberg, who doesn't know this industry, like why not make my mark? I mean, everything you've said, I've felt,
Mm-hmm.
but I will say that, so it's mental gymnastics for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I will say, like, there were just all these little signs that came to
Mm-hmm.
me that just told me like you're on the right path. And
Yeah.
actually the harder it is, the more I know I'm on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the signs being like when we raised our first friends and family round, it was like, and every person I asked said yes. And I barely
Mm-hmm.
asked. And that was
That's
like,
great.
okay,
Yeah.
these are like close people to me and they just believe in me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even leaving my day job, like that was like fighting tooth and nail internally for me to do that. But it just
I
Yeah.
kind
bet.
of like seamlessly when came to me of like, now's your time that you have to leave and do this.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah. We love hearing these stories, and we wish you much success in this
Yeah.
journey you're on right now. Love
Thank you,
hearing
guys.
these positive stories. We do have some fun rapid fire questions that
Yeah.
we
This is,
like to
I was
close
just
the
about to
show
say,
with.
Rocky,
Yeah.
get into some rapid fire because these are
Let's
fun.
get into those. And so these are just going to be, really simple answers here. And we always have a lot of fun doing these. So here we go. More stressful decision for you: what to wear or what to watch on Netflix?
What to watch on Netflix.
Right?
Ooh.
Why is
Yeah.
that?
Super
It's a hard
stressful.
one. It's
It
stressful.
is hard.
Man, that endless
With
scrolling
your
is just,
partner too,
Oh,
like someone wants a
forget it.
different vibe.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I
don't
guess
you hate when you
what to wear is like for you. You don't
Yeah, that's
really,
true.
you want other people's opinions. You want it to look nice, but it's like you're deciding.
Well,
Whereas
unless you're
if you
going to
are
dinner
scrolling,
together,
usually
with
you're
your
with
partner.
somebody else.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
true.
And I have Cloud Closet and I can reference.
That's
I'm like,
fair.
oh, I forgot I had that jumpsuit. Awesome. I'll wear that.
Yeah.
Solved.
Clark, you want to take the second one? This one's the second
Sure.
one's kind of a cheat because I believe Caroline's already answered this one.
Who do you trust more for your style advice? Your best friend or AI?
People, guys.
Yeah.
There you go. I knew it.
Yeah. That's an easy one.
I did write
That's
that before the show. So
yeah, true. That's fair enough. Hit another one.
all
Rob.
right. This one's near and dear to my heart. Do you write down your task list for the day or do you put it in your phone?
Right.
Yes.
I have so many stickies.
I knew it.
I'll show you.
I feel like that's a secret. That's
a secret. Yeah.
Yeah, I do index cards.
Nice.
Because I pitch them for the next day. But yeah, I think that's a superpower that a lot of people have, is writing things down. I think it locks it into memory better than typing it in.
Totally. Makes me feel better. Like I'm doing something physically.
I'm realizing a lot about myself. This is why I forget everything.
There you go.
This is it.
I had to call him before the show and say, hey, we're on. Like, did you forget?
Every day.
Have you guys ever tried like any of those apps? Like, I feel like there are a lot of apps around this too.
There are.
Yeah.
No, I've tried them. I've tried to rely on Asana or Notion or although I've tried to do send me a reminder and stuff, but I like to see it. I like to glance down at my desk and see it and go, oh yeah, I got to do that thing today.
I think that's a fair point because I have every single one of those set up and I just ignore the reminders and I ignore the emails from Asana and I, nope, I gotta
Yeah.
concentrate on what I'm doing. I need it written down in front of me. That's what I
Yeah.
need. I need to go back to that. That's true.
All right, Clark, you get the last question here.
What app on your phone do you wish you could delete forever?
We know what it's not.
Mm-hmm. Is there one that you would just wish, like, ugh, if I could just get off of this, could I get rid of this and not have to deal with this app?
Oof, I mean, that would be one that I like use. Okay, Gmail app, I
Yeah.
guess. Like,
Gmail. Email.
yeah,
Nobody
email,
wants to
because
do email.
there's an addiction,
Mm-hmm.
of
I mean,
checking, and I
Yeah.
think
it
it's
definitely,
unhealthy.
Yeah.
it's like one that you have to have, but you wish you didn't have to have it. I mean, we should all take a note from Ed Sheeran, to be honest with you. Just go full off the grid, flip phone, only use email or
Yeah.
one form of communication, and, people
Yeah,
just won't be able to get a hold of you anymore.
It used to be you check
imagine.
your email like intentionally, like, oh, it's 10 a.m. I should check
Mm-hmm.
my email. Now
Yes.
it's just
That's
you're just
true.
boom,
That's
boom,
true.
boom, pop. Everything's popping up on your screen. It's
Yeah.
like,
Email used
well,
to
I
be
don't know
like a
how people
once a
get stuff
day.
done. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like text. You got to respond to people, or they're going to be like, "Why haven't you responded to my email?" It's crazy.
Well, I would say
Yes.
half of my time in my inbox is deleting stuff that's just spam or moving it to. I would say 10% of my emails are actual business related emails, which is
That's when you
crazy.
start. That's when you just start a new company, Rocky, and change the name, and then just
I
get a
did
new
that.
email
It didn't work.
address.
They find you. They
Did
find your
they?
email. I don't know,
Dang.
man. It's
It's
terrible.
wild. Spam.
It's terrible.
Does anyone have a email address they only use for signing up for things and only use for spam stuff?
Oh, of course.
Mhm.
Of
Yeah.
Yeah,
course.
Yeah.
I
I
do.
think that's
But I
everybody
still
at this
check
point.
it compulsively.
Yeah. What if there was something important in there?
What if they're trying to find me? What if I owe money to somebody?
Yeah. Am I
Yeah,
getting
that's fair.
sued? Where, like, I don't know. Well, Caroline, thanks so much for joining us on the Somewhat Creative Show.
Thank you guys for having me. So great to catch up with you guys and share more about Cloud Closet. Thank you.
Much success. And if anybody out there enjoyed the episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen. And if you're feeling generous, leave a review, maybe.
That would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the meantime, stay curious, stay creative.
We'll see you next time, everybody.